everybody. This is Dave here at Pulp Alley, and tonight we're going to do an ability spotlight. I wanted to take a look at an ability that we get a lot of questions about, and it is the Shapeshifter ability. It's a cool ability in Pulp Alley, but there's folks have questions about it, and we've had questions about it, for the last 5, 6, 10 years, I guess, since it was actually created. So here is a rundown a little bit on the Shapeshifter ability, and I'm going to try and cover some of the things that you can do with it, some of the things that you can't do with it, also some tips and some tricks that you might not have thought of. So be sure and watch this one. Now, before we get too much further, will you take a moment and make sure you are subscribed to our little channel here. Also, take a moment and make sure you hit that like button. And if you're already a subscriber, please be sure and hit that bell so you will get a notification when we upload a new video. So, the baby monitor. The baby monitor's on. Give me just a minute. All right, so I always intended like Phantom Ace to be a shapeshifter. I always intended him to kind of shapeshift into a ghost-like form. I thought that would be really cool, but never really went that direction with it. So instead, one of our, I guess you'd call them our house leagues or whatever, we do have a shapeshifter in there, and it is Dr. Fang's daughter. Yin Ying is a shapeshifter. Pretty cool one. Check this out. So here is the character card for Yin Ying, and of course it says shapeshifter right there. As an action, you may transform into shadow. So it's identified right there on the card. It tells you what she can transform into. Note, you may instantly transform into shadow at the start of your activation if you are engaged. So, very cool. So she can transform basically into tiger form. Check that out. How awesome is that? So one of the things that we don't do in Pulp Alley is we don't try and tell the story for you. So in other words, why does she transform? What is it that allows her to transform? That's really up to you, the player, to decide. Now, I happen to know that she's actually some sort of demon beast from hell. So that's the shape that you basically see her in isn't her actual form anyway. But one of the things that she can do is shapeshift. And one of her most common forms is switching into that of a very large and ferocious tiger. Now, that's the story that I have set up for it. And the reason we do it that way is because your story will undoubtedly be very different. What if you want to just do a werewolf or, any other sort of shape-shifting sort of character, a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde sort of thing. There's a lot of examples out there. Plus, whatever you can imagine, you can kind of twist and put in there as well. You can have a lot of fun with it. I'm gonna give you some cool tricks and tips that I would just about bet you hadn't thought of yet as far as the shapeshifter ability goes. So here's some of the common questions that come up. Once I transform into the other form, can I then transform back? And the short answer is no. Certainly as far as Yin Ying is concerned, she always starts in her primary profile, which is the first profile that you created and that you gave the shapeshifter ability, right? A character can do what they can do. In other words, she can shapeshift because it says shapeshifter on her card. So if I take a look at the tiger, what would make you think that this tiger could shapeshift back? Nothing. Nowhere on there does it say shapeshifter. So the question comes up, Can I take Shapeshifter for the second form? Absolutely, you can. And then that would allow you to shapeshift back into yin yang. Or, and this is something you might not have thought of, or into something else. So you could actually create a chain of shapes there. So you can create yin yang, who can change into the tiger. And if you chose to give the tiger the shapeshift ability, the rule says that you create another level 3 profile, or that you identify that it can change into another level 3 profile. So you could change back into yin yang, or you could change into a bat, right? You could change into something completely different. So it doesn't have to be changing back if you chose to give the second profile the shapeshifter ability as well. Isn't that cool? So you could have a vampire that could change into a wolf, could change into a bat, could change into a ghost. But here's the thing, each ability has its own train or its own link in that sequence. So the vampire can transform into the wolf because you bought the shapeshifter ability and you specified wolf. So if you take the wolf and you give it the shapeshifter ability and you specify bat, and then you create that level 3 bat profile, then you cannot transform straight from the vampire straight into the bat just by the rules, because that's not what the shapeshifter ability, when you gave it to the vampire, you said wolf. So that's what he transforms into, or she transforms into. So very, very cool. Now here's another one that you haven't thought of, a perk called Shapeshifters. It's a 2-slot perk, and what that means, it takes up slots on your roster just like a character would, so it actually reduces the number of characters you could have. But by doing that, you could give Shapeshifter to all of your characters. And that would include the extra characters that you created anyway. So by doing that, you wouldn't actually have to spend one of Yin Ying's slots to get Shapeshifter. You could give her the Shapeshifter ability from the perk, so she gets it for free. And then you could take the tiger, and then you could give him the Shapeshifter ability for free as well, and specify that he changes back into Yin Yang, and yada yada yada. Now, I guess the one thing that I would caution y'all about is this: switching shapes is not as wonderful and as a cool idea as you might think it is. And I would really caution you from getting overly excited about how cool that is, because it's either an action, either you're going to have to spend an action to do it, which basically that means spending your turn doing it, right? In a fast-paced game like Pulp Alley, spending a turn doing something like that, that puts you one turn behind sometimes on everything else. So working a space in where you can take advantage of knowing when to shapeshift into that tiger form, when to stay in yin yang form as long as you can, and when you really, really have to then switch into tiger form. Knowing when to do that is one of those things that I think you got to kind of play a few times to really kind of get that timing down. Then simply the idea that I'm going to switch into tiger form, and then later on in the scenario, then I'm going to end up switching back into yin yang. No, it's very, very infrequent are you going to be able to do multiple shapeshifts with the same character within the course of a scenario, and when it would really pay off. It's just it's just not going to pay off as well as you think it will if you spend most of the game or half of the game switching into different shapes, right? It just isn't. You gotta be ready to switch into a form that you think you can use effectively, and then go for it. So very, very cool ability, but it definitely has its limitations. It definitely has things that you kind of have to try it a few times and see how it's going to work. I think for Yin Yang, it works really, really well. I like playing it this way. It's two very different characters. You have Yin Yang, who really isn't much of a brawler, and then when she wants to, she can kind of change into this big, ferocious tiger beast. Very, very cool. Now, let me see if I got everything down here. So, Yin Yang always starts as Yin Yang. That's the primary profile. So, although I said that once she switches to the tiger, you can't switch back during the scenario, following the scenario, she always will return back to yin yang form. So she always starts the scenario in yin yang form. If you just want to start in the tiger, then make a tiger character and don't make a shapeshifter. It's not that hard to do. Or make the tiger form and give it the shapeshift ability and switch it back into a human. You could do that as well. So one of the questions that comes up is about injuries as well. So when your character transforms, they will remain at the same health dice. So if Yin Yang was at a D8 health, and for whatever reason she was injured, when she transforms into the tiger form, that same health rolls over, and she would have a D6 health. Now, I think the important thing to remember there is that even if you had a secondary profile that had a different health, and you could, right? You could create a transformation or a second profile that had the big ability or something along those lines that gave your second profile a bigger health. Well, when you transform, if you are injured, your health remains the same. So if you started at a D8 and you were down to a D6 because of an injury and you choose to transform, then you're going to move across and you stay at that D6. If you're not injured when you transform, then you can go up to that higher health level. That's something to remember as well. All right, I guess that is all of the questions that I had. Let me know if you guys found this helpful. Do you like this idea of kind of spotlighting an ability and maybe digging into it and kind of answering some of those specific questions just about that ability? Some folks avoid some of these abilities that maybe have a little nuance to them, but it's fun to go in and try some of these abilities once in a while. I'd like you guys to try it. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about Shapeshifter. Is there an ability out there that we need to do this again with and kind of talk about a little more in depth? Leave a comment below. If you're not a subscriber, please make sure you get subscribed to our little channel here. Please make sure you hit the like button, and we would really appreciate it if you hit that bell too, so you get a notification when we upload a new video. And that's it for tonight. We'll see you next time. Hey, no. Wait. We got the live video tonight. At 8 p.m. I hope you'll join us. Me and Bessie. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.